This is the Lazy Teacher Podcast.
Welcome back to the Lazy Teacher Podcast. My name is Brian Pulowski. This is episode 13 on the news. Well, it's basically going to be topical news. Topical news in that I was in my classroom prior to leaving work today and just pulling up like some news, and really the search topic or keyword was teacher. And it's interesting. I find it very interesting that it always seems to be the same type of news when it comes to teachers. It's always some sort of sexual, harassment or, some sort of inappropriate behavior, or really it's always like that. It's never really anything positive, but I suppose you could say that about really anything in the news. I mean, how's that saying go? If it bleeds, it leads, or something like that. But basically it's a disappointment. So I'm in my classroom, I'm looking at some news on teaching. And it kind of dawned on me, I think this would be an interesting episode to make out of it. So what I decided to do is I just pulled up, I think the first 5 or 6 news stories that showed up when I just Google searched teacher. So these are really the first 5 that popped up. I thought I'd go through them. I kind of briefed through them to get an idea. I mean, I certainly didn't want to double up on any episodes, double up on any news stories. So anyways. I've briefly kind of gone through them, but I really haven't read through them entirely. I just kind of wanted to save it for the episode and see how it would go over. Anyways, so this first topic is called "This Kid's Letter to His Teacher for Lying About Christopher Columbus Needs to Be Framed." I did see this, and that apparently this was really big on Facebook, and this kid writes a journal entry in Chicago. I think he's an 8-year-old. He writes a journal entry commenting about Christopher Columbus to his teacher, and I guess it went viral on Facebook. Somehow I missed it, but that's fine. A quote from his journal is, I want you to not teach me lies. That's all. Okay. Fair enough. And there's a big argument that goes with Christopher Columbus because, what's in our textbooks and what's in history lessons as far as how we're maybe not told to teach Christopher Columbus or the history of it is slightly biased towards maybe the reality of it. And I'll let you look into that yourself if you want. It's a very interesting topic, the reality of how it was for Christopher Columbus. But as far as the teacher's point of view, we're not directly told how to teach it, but all of the curriculum for Christopher Columbus kind of comes across a certain way. In fact, just in kindergarten, we had little news magazines that we read. And when it talks about Christopher Columbus, it's jaded, it's certainly biased towards a certain viewpoint. So anyways, apparently they had the day off in Illinois for this. And it says a Chicago student's journal entry has gone viral after he set his teacher straight in response to a whitewashed history lesson. I would agree with that. Like I said, I do believe that in this particular case, Christopher Columbus, history on Christopher Columbus is definitely whitewashed. It's definitely biased, right? So this 8-year-old King Johnson wrote the entry after speaking with his mother, Robin Johnson, about the meaning of Columbus Day. So this is what his mom told HuffPost. In the entry, King confronts teacher after learning Christopher Columbus discovered America. Okay, fair enough. So he writes in his journal, today was not a good learning day, blah, blah, blah. He wrote, I only wanted to hear you not talking. You said something wrong, and I can't listen when I hear lies. This is an 8-year-old? I don't know. I taught 10 and 11-year-olds for a while, and this is this is pretty good writing for an 8-year-old, and to be very directive. Anyways, I think we'll go on. I'm very curious to see what the mom's response to this was. As a teacher, I'm not really buying it, I think the kid was led a little bit by the mom, but that's just my opinion. King reminds the teacher about Native Americans while quoting an apt Jay-Z lyric. Ooh, this is going to be good. My mom said that the only Christopher we acknowledge is Wallace, because Columbus didn't find our country. The Indians did. I like to have Columbus Day off, but I want you to not teach me lies. That is all. Well said. Well said. I would argue with him that Columbus didn't necessarily discover America. In fact, he discovered a whole different area, and well, there's history behind that. So I get it. Do I think he's being rude? I do think he's being rude. Is there a better way to approach it? Absolutely. Now, it's tricky. We're taking into context here that this is an 8-year-old. So my opinion is an 8-year-old is going to approach a teacher with a conflict or a disagreement, and they're pretty much going to verbatim what their parents are saying. So I haven't read the rest of the article, but as we go on, I'm just going to guess that it's a lot of what his mom told him, and he's just repeating it, which maybe not necessarily bad, but I think as a parent, you have to be careful what you tell your children, because they are going to go parrot it back to a teacher or an adult, and they don't know the finer points of delicate topics. And I'm not saying this is entirely a delicate topic, but it's interesting. It is interesting. So anyways, all right. King's teacher responded to his journal saying that she was very disappointed in what he had to say. As a teacher, I'm disappointed with how he said it. I'm not disappointed that he's arguing it. I mean, he should. I believe that students should be able to not stand up, but should be able to confront their teachers if they disagree with something. However, it needs to be couched, as they would say. It needs to be couched a certain way. His reply was simple and nonchalant. Okay. Good response, not being argumentative with the teacher. King's mom said she was proud of him, but not so pleased with the blah, blah, blah. Really, that's what she's going to argue about? She's not pleased with the blah, blah, blah? Let me go back on that. How about, I only wanted to hear you not talking? That sounds a little bit rude. How about you're unhappy or displeased that your child's being a little bit disrespectful to the teacher? Just saying, the disrespect isn't disagreeing. It's how it's said. But I get it, whatever. It's an 8-year-old. The mom goes on, I always use every moment as a teaching moment, she said. His first day off of school for Columbus Day, I decided to talk to him and his siblings about it because he asked why they didn't have to attend school. Great point, great teachable moment. Love it. Fully support that, Mom. King told HuffPost he wrote the journal because he doesn't like the dark side that comes out of a person when they lie. Okay, that could be an 8-year-old's response. Or again, I think this is maybe a parent saying that, I gotta be careful how I say this. Maybe this is the parents' words and how they're teaching lying. The dark side comes out when you're lying. I could be wrong. And I'm not saying that's incorrect. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but I just don't think an 8-year-old's going to use this kind of vocabulary. That's all I'm saying. It's important to tell the truth because the world should be full of trust and love, he said. That's cool. So a Facebook post of the journal entry was shared more than 128,000 times as of Wednesday. Holy cow. I didn't see it. I'm not on Facebook that much, but that's a lot. Many people commended King for speaking out against the teacher's lesson, with some wondering why the teacher didn't use the journal entry as an opportunity for dialogue. Wow, that's a tricky subject. See, here's the thing. There's a lot as a teacher that you just can't cross. You can't cross certain lines. For sure, you can't talk about politics. You're not supposed to talk about politics. You're not supposed to talk about religion. And things that contradict the curriculum that you're teaching, you can. You can express your viewpoint on it, especially if you can back it up with data and say, hey, okay, so I know the history book is saying this. More specifically, what really happened is, he takes these boats, he's sailing around, currents misguided him. He ended up going to an area that we now call India. I don't know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like he could have, or not he, the teacher could have taken that moment to make it a teachable moment. So I get that. I get what people are saying about it. It's hard, it's hard. You don't want to do anything wrong. Certainly you don't want to lose your job, but whatever. Johnson said that she was surprised that her son's journal went viral. King, that's the kid, who wants to be a police officer, solid job, when he grows up so he can save lives, said he appreciates all the positive attention he's been getting. Makes me feel a lot more confident in myself, he said of the comments. Some things that I may not feel comfortable saying, I can now say with more courage and to know that I will be supported. Hey, good for him. All the compliments gave me a lot more courage. Well, that's good. I mean, that's good. I am glad that he's, kind of learning to express himself and maybe not argue with the teacher, but, express a disagreement. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. So, but I didn't, excuse me, I didn't see that. I did not see that article on Facebook, but I'm not out there all the time. Palm Harbor teacher, scoutmaster arrested. Here we go. Sexual battery on a minor. Always. Oh, you should see this guy's face too. So in Florida, detectives assigned to the Crimes Against Children unit have arrested a Palm Harbor man for sexual battery on a minor. So sad. According to detectives, 43-year-old Matthew Pinder was employed as a teacher. Oh boy. Was employed as a teacher at Calvary Christian High School and serving as a mentor to the juvenile victim, who was 16 years old at the time of the inappropriate sexual conduct. Wow. I mean, I always hate to hear, and I always hate to see, teachers doing inappropriate things with children. I think it hits home a little bit more, or a little more sensitive, or whatever. Especially when religion gets involved. I mean, that's sad. That's very, very sad. I think, because it's a because it's not, if I know this school correctly, Calvary Christian High School, I would imagine it's Christian based, right? Because it's Calvary Christian. I don't believe it's a public school. It's probably some sort of charter school of some sort, which means parents have opted to put their kids in that school. It's not just a public school where, all the kids kind of funnel in together. This is like a parent saying, I want my child to go to something maybe a little bit different. Maybe, I don't want to say better, because I don't know that charter schools are necessarily better or private schools are necessarily better, but they have a different focus. And if this focus is specifically religion, and then you have an allegation of a teacher doing this, that's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow. Detectives said their investigation began on November 11, 2017, after the now 24-year-old victim informed a school official of their past inappropriate sexual contact with Pinder, who is a current teacher at Palm Harbor University High School. I thought it was Calvary Chapel or Calvary Christian. Was employed as a teacher, detectives said. I got lost there. Hopefully you guys picked up that. Maybe the teacher's now at a different school. Sounds like it. Sounds like it happened at Calvary Christian High School, and now it's at another school, Palm Harbor University High. The school official reported the allegation to the school's resource deputy, blah, 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 blah. Detectives say the teacher admitted to engaging in inappropriate sexual activity on at least 2 different occasions with the 16-year-old victim. I've never taught high school for a couple reasons. One, I can't, because I don't have a single credential or single subject credential to do it. But more importantly, I don't have an interest in it because I feel, this is just personally, I feel like kids, God, I'm like dating myself. I feel like kids are way different in school now than they were when I was in high school. I've seen high schoolers come out of the school and walking and whatever at Starbucks and stuff. And I don't want a part of that. I don't want any part of that. Not that it's a temptation at all for me, but I don't want to be around that. It almost so bad to say. It almost seems scandalous to me, and I don't want to be in that situation. Like I don't agree with a lot of how a lot of the girls dress in high school. I mean, they're all minors, and essentially I should watch myself on this. I just don't like how they dress. How about that? We'll leave it at that. So yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that he was doing something with a 16-year-old. I wouldn't, and no one should, obviously, but oh boy. I really don't like these kind of stories. I'm glad it's a 16-year-old rather than younger than that, but it's still tough, man. It is really tough. Okay, so the teacher was arrested Wednesday at Palm Harbor University High School and charged for 1 count of sexual battery prior to being transported to the county jail. The teacher was reassigned from his employment as a teacher. Okay, so he left. Oh, he resigned. That's good. Jesus. Detectives say there may be more victims, and they're requesting the public to come forward with any information regarding inappropriate contact Pinder may have had with other children. See, that's the truth right there. Is if it happens once, in my opinion, and actually in my experience, it's happened more than once. Okay, just my opinion. I don't know. This is all allegations. I have no idea if you really did it. But in my experience, I've seen that teachers that are willing to date or do inappropriate things with high school kids are going to repeat that, are going to do it again and again and again and again and again. It's not like just this random, just popped up like, oh, this worked out with this kid or this, because they're a child, right? They're a child. I think there's more. And I will not be surprised if more people come out stating that that something else happened. Oh, I want to jump to this one. I want to jump to this one because I like the topic. I saw this headline and I could not wait to read it. So I did read a little bit of it, but I had to put it off a little bit. Where'd you go? Come on. Figures it doesn't load when I want it to. Come on. All right. We're going to have to wait on that one. We'll come back to it. That is so funny. The one that I really wanted to do, I couldn't do. That is funny. That's too bad. Okay. We'll come back to it. Kid Palm. All right. How about this? Mission. It's all in the same thing. It's always the same thing. You're so sweet. Thank you. Thank you, my sister. Thanks for joining. You feel the same way? I'm sure there's a lot of people that probably knew a teacher in high school that was dating someone. I know I did. I know a teacher that was dating someone in high school, and he dated like 2 or 3 girls. And I'm not saying that it was inappropriate. They were all underage. Obviously, because they're in high school. But I'm not saying he did anything inappropriate with them. Maybe they completely wanted to do it or whatever the case is. But if there's one, there's more. That's just my opinion. Okay, so check this out. Okay, so a teacher. Let me read that headline. I'll go back into this. I like this one too. Okay, so the headline: he kissed my forehead and slit my throat. A teacher who abused a teen student tried to kill his wife. What? Okay, a Michigan middle school teacher who sexually abused his 14-year-old female student and then slit his wife's throat after she confronted him was sentenced this week to 30 to 60 years in prison. What? Okay, so this teacher, as middle school teacher, abuses a student, right? And then the wife questions him about it, asks if there's like inappropriate sexual stuff going on with it. He cuts her throat. Not laughing in that she deserved it in any way. I'm laughing just like, it compounds on each other. You know what I'm saying? Like it's interesting that this stuff happens. An official from Michigan's 17th Circuit Court tells people that James Chilekis, 32, was sentenced Tuesday to 30 to 60 years for assault with intent to murder and 15 to 40 years for 2 counts of criminal sexual conduct. Yep. The sentences will run concurrently, and this man, Chilekis, will also wear a GPS monitor for life. Ooh, for life as a sex offender. Let's get some details on what happened with the kid, right? Okay, so Chilekis, now ex-wife, slit her throat though. Okay, Chilekis, now ex-wife survived. Oh, okay, so she survived back in June of 2017. She survives the attack and has since divorced him. Well, that's probably a good idea. I mean, I'm just saying, like, obviously he doesn't want to be with you. Like, holy cow. The attack occurred after she confronted him about extramarital sexual activity. Okay. Though she was unaware the activity was with a teen girl, Kent County prosecuting attorney tells news story. They keep showing this guy's mug, man. Maybe you guys can see that. Can you see his face? Wow. While she was bleeding, this is the ex-wife. While she was bleeding, Chilekis read Bible. Ooh. I always like a little twist. I always like that little twist at the end. This is some good news writing. While she was bleeding, Chilekis read Bible verses to her and texted with his child abuse victim. Oh my God. Okay, so he cuts her throat, and as she's bleeding out of her throat, he gets the Bible and he's reading Bible verses to her, all the while texting with the child abuse victim. How about that, huh? During their text exchange, the teen urged Chilekis to call 911, which he finally did nearly an hour. 1 hour after he cut her throat, slit her throat. He finally calls 911. What a good guy. Prior to his sentencing, his ex-wife described the attack in court, saying, "He came out of the closet behind me. My head was tipped back, resting on the back of the chair with my eyes closed." Okay, so like that. Got your head back or whatever. Standing behind me, he kissed my forehead and slit my throat from one side to the other. Can you believe that? That's like straight up a horror, like scary movie, right? Where you think everything's fine. You're sitting in a chair, you got your head back, you're just like relaxing, and then someone comes up, gives you this like most gentle, loving kiss on the forehead, and then ear to ear. Whoosh. That is terrible, terrible, terrible. The victim said her training as a nurse enabled her to pinch off her artery, okay, so that she wouldn't bleed out. The couple's children were, oh my gosh, and they had kids? The couple's children were home during the attack, though they were unaware it was happening and were not harmed. How could you not hear your dad cut your mom's throat open? Really? On Tuesday in court, the victim said, someday when it is developmentally appropriate, I have to tell the children. Okay, so maybe they were young and they just were oblivious to it or didn't think to know, or I'm not sure. Sounds like they were young. I have to tell the children their father is not with us because he tried to kill me. Whew, that's one way to put it. According to the ex-wife, Chilekis began sexually abusing the teen girl. I don't know, maybe that's the police officer. According to the police officer, Chilekis began sexually abusing the teen girl when she was a student in his 8th grade math class. There you go. It's so frustrating. I hate that. It's everywhere. It really is. But I take it personal because it's I don't know, gosh. I feel, and it might be nothing, but I feel like I have these eyes on me, especially as a kindergarten teacher. It doesn't, parents just aren't used to, I guess, a male kindergarten teacher, and especially a teacher like maybe I hate to say it, especially a teacher like myself. Like I don't look like a fluffy teacher that's like super loving, although I really am. Like I have nothing but love for my kids. Like that's really why I like teaching, is I just love working with kids and being with kids. They're amazing, and I like watching them grow, and I love, 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 love that. So that's there, but like I still feel like I get looks from parents all the time questioning me, and like certainly at the beginning of the year, they're apprehensive that their child's in like a male kindergarten teacher's classroom. Like I don't know if they're worried they're not going to get enough love, or I'm not sure what it is, but I feel like I kind of digress, but I feel like that kind of goes along with this whole like this thing. It's like, unfortunately, like it's always the male teacher, right? Becker praised the teen for encouraging Chalekas to call 911, saying she showed a level of maturity beyond her years to be able to do something like this when confronted with a situation like this. All right, that's cool. I agree. People calls, who's that? Oh, hey, there's my other sister. Hey, Rebecca. All right. People calls to Sean Perry, Chaleka's attorney, were not immediately returned. It was unclear if Chaleka's planned to appeal his sentence. Well, I would hope not. He definitely he owned up to it and he admitted it, right? Like, I guess you still have to show up in court, but see if I can get that one. Where'd it go? It's a teacher. Oh, come on. It's about a PE teacher. This PE teacher that ran around nude. Not laughing. Oh yeah, I am laughing. I'm laughing because it's funny that like these teachers. Okay, Los Angeles teacher. Oh, this one's for you, Rebecca Lafon. I know if you're still in here. Los Angeles teacher allegedly strips naked and chases students on the playground. Can you imagine that? You're at PE. Is this? Well, we'll find out. I'm imagining it's elementary. It might be middle school. Can you imagine you're at PE and your PE teacher just like, I'm going to take off my clothes and start chasing you, and on the playground, like not even off campus. He's just like, I'm going to feel like taking my clothes off right now. All right, let's see what this has to say. A PE teacher at a Los Angeles area elementary school allegedly stripped naked on campus Friday and chased a second grader and a fifth grader. And there it is, elementary school, around a playground. That's so funny. Parents were notified of the incident that affected second and fifth graders. A construction worker that was passing by the scene at the elementary school captured, and they always do, gets out his cell phone and videos this PE teacher running around, unidentified. I'm sure the school knows who it is, putting his pants back on in the. Oops. Whew. That's pretty funny. I can't believe this. The teacher was not identified in the report other than he was a contracted employee who works for the district's education program. I wonder what that is. STAR, the Star Education. I'm not sure what that is. The school sent a letter home to parents that an individual began behaving in an unusual way. Well, I would say so. That's funny, though, that they didn't admit that it was an employee of the school. They said an individual was behaving inappropriate. I would think as a parent, I would definitely want to know if it was an employee. But maybe they're just trying to protect themselves, or maybe technically he's not an employee. I'm not sure what this Star Education program is. And yeah, law enforcement was obviously contacted. The school went on a brief lockdown. Yeah, that's a good reason. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to lock down the school. We have a naked PE teacher running around. Co-red lockdown. This guy's flapping around. Sorry. I love it. Following the incident, the children were able to see mental health counselors. Yeah, they always do that, don't they? School police told the station that they're continuing to investigate. couldn't find a picture of this guy. I'd show you if I could find it. That's funny. Oh boy. Ooh, that guy, the man that slit his wife's throat, he's got a real big thick beard now. Just growing it out. Oh boy. Gosh, man, it's always the same. Palm Bay teacher suspended after making sexual gesture to principal. Oh, really? Well, this is interesting because this is not a student. So teacher suspended after making a sexual gesture to the principal. What do you think the gesture is? I don't know. Sounds like maybe not saying something, right? So, okay, without even starting the article, I'm just gonna guess off the top of my head that I bet it had something to do with touching. So I think gesture would be like you're making a motion, right? Making a motion with your hands, your mouth, your something, your whole body to like insinuate something sexual. I'm gonna go with it. It was a touch. I bet this teacher touched the principal thinking everything was fine. Do we want to decide if it was a male principal or a girl principal? I bet it was a female principal with a male teacher. Just saying, we're about to find out. All right. Palm Bay teacher was suspended after after he allegedly made an inappropriate sexual gesture towards the principal at Riviera Elementary School in Palm Bay, according to the school board. This guy, Philip Washler, allegedly made the gesture at Riviera Elementary School to Principal Corey Hurst, as she was walking out of his 6th grade classroom. Okay, so she comes into the classroom, presumably probably for some sort of observation, I guess. We're going to find out. I just like this whole like stopping and guessing thing. So I'm thinking she goes into his classroom for an observation. They do it all the time. Or just like a flyby where they just like cruise the classroom, let the kids see them, check on what the kids are doing, whatever like that. So she's leaving the classroom and this guy does something. So let's find out. According to the school board, several elementary students in his classroom witnessed the sexual gesture. Ooh, that's never good. When the principal got wind of what Wessler did, she summoned him to her office. Ooh, so it sounds like he did something as she was leaving, and then the kids saw it. Ooh, that's not good. So she summons him up to her office back in mid-November to provide a written statement. Washler allegedly demonstrated the sexual gesture. Okay, so he has to go into a meeting with the principal and write down what specifically he did, and then he shows the principal what he did. Washler received a letter of reprimand, for allegedly using inappropriate language. Come on, I want to know what he did. The Brevard County School Board suspended Washler for 1 day without pay, following an investigation. Really? That's it? Talk about like leaving you on your toes here. I wanted to know what he did. That makes me sad. Especially it being that it was a teacher, right? I think it's cool. Too funny. What else? Let's get one more here. Awesome. Love all you people that have just been dropping in on this. Thank you very much. Those that are just listening to the audio version of this, I'm live casting this on Facebook right now. So I'm seeing all these people checking in, and I'm loving it. Thank you so much for the support. Let's go with one more. Let's see here. Oh, this one was good. So let's see. I didn't get too far into it, but from my understanding, it sounds like a teacher. Yeah. So it sounds like a teacher tells a female teacher. She tells her students, you guys can listen to music, whatever like that. But then one student is listening to Tupac, love Tupac, and she uses some inappropriate language. I think I browsed this one too, and I was like, I gotta say this one. Okay, Alabama teacher. Good place for this to happen. Alabama teacher used racial slur to tell students to turn off music. A high school teacher at Hoover, Alabama, was placed on administrative leave Monday after using a racial slur in a health and nutrition class at Hoover High School. Oh boy. Shanita Morrow said her daughter, who's black and a senior at Hoover High School, was playing a song by Tupac on Friday when teacher Teddy Butcher, who is white, oh, maybe it is a girl. What? I thought it was a female teacher. Let's see. Teddy Butcher, who is white, allegedly told her to turn the N music off. Students were usually allowed to play music while working on projects in class, Morrow told the site. At a school board meeting Monday, Hoover City Students Superintendent Kathy Murphy confirmed that a teacher had been placed on administrative leave for using a racial slur and that it was her understanding the situation Morrow's daughter and other students described was accurate. Okay, so it sounds like it was accurate. Can't tell if it was a male teacher or female. I thought when I read it, this is a different source, but I thought when I read it was a female teacher, but I guess it doesn't matter, but it was deemed to be accurate. Some tough language. You definitely can't talk like that, right? The Hoover Sun reported that Snapchat videos captured and, yep. Oh man, see, that's the thing. Kids these days, they got phones and they're always busting them out to record, saying that they were shocked the teacher had said the word, and Butcher replying that the student was overreacting. I don't know if you're overreacting. That's just not language you can use. Music was being played, and the teacher is saying that she responded to that music using, okay, so it was a female teacher. She responded to that music using the N-word. Bummer. Murphy told ABC, blah, 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 school officials had apologized to the class Monday. The actual song, yeah, what song was it? Come on, he's got so many good songs. Which one was it? The actual song being played at the time has been disputed, according to the station. Oh, I see. They don't know for sure. There's a lot of good Tupac songs. Some parents, like Ramel Williams, whose child also informed her of the incident, told the Hoover Sun the instructor should be fired. Huh. How do you think? I don't know. I have this odd feeling about using bad language. And I'm a teacher and I don't use bad language in the classroom. I do outside the classroom. I kind of feel like it's weird. Like, why is it okay for me to make one sound out of my mouth, but if I make another sound, all of a sudden it's a bad word? I don't know. It's just weird. I understand social acceptance and whatever like that, but I don't know. Getting fired for saying a word? No. I'd have to know more details. I think they need to set an example with her and let students know they are safe. See, this is taking it too far. I'm disagreeing with this article a lot. And let students know they are safe and they don't have to worry about derogatory comments or being belittled by their teacher with degrading words, and set a precedent for teachers in the school. That this is not acceptable behavior, she told the paper. The teacher didn't call the student any name. The teacher was reacting to a song, and it sounds like the teacher said, using the N-word, turn that N-word music off. Inappropriate. Teacher absolutely should not be using that. No teacher should be calling any musical artist or whatever the N-word, and could have easily just said, please turn the music off, turn Tupac off, turn that music I don't like off, any other thing other than the N-word. But to fire the teacher because of this, or to say that students aren't safe because the student or because the teacher said that, I don't agree with it. I just don't agree with it. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with it. And I think students or parents are so quick to jump on the attack the teacher. And I just think there should be some more research into that. I'm just saying. I just don't think a teacher should lose their job for saying that. I mean, reprimanded, yes. Fired, my opinion, nope. Well, what do I know? I'm just a lazy teacher. I don't make the decisions. Murphy said the investigation would follow both. Oh, got it. Murphy said the investigation would follow both due diligence and due process to ensure the correct response was taken. Good. We certainly expect all of our teachers, faculty, and staff to treat children with all due respect and to treat them with dignity. Absolutely, completely agree with that. She told the Hoover Sun, it is most inappropriate and unprofessional to use racial slang or a slur in any way embarrass or hurt children, and that's not something that I will stand for. I don't find it acceptable, and it's not who our school district is. That's just the PC statement they always say. That's good, though. They need to. Got to say that. In 2017, the county school board instituted a zero-tolerance policy for use of racial slurs in class after it said a teacher used a racial slur in an attempt to explain a group of elementary school students that the same word should not be tolerated. So did the teacher call the kids the N-word? A group of elementary school students that the same word should be tolerated. The zero tolerance policy means an instructor would be reviewed for termination if it was determined a slur was said. The incident comes days after a freshman was expelled from school in her sorority after sharing Instagram posts that included her repeatedly saying the N-word. It's a delicate word, right? I don't know. I'm going to put that down. Maybe next time I'll find some positive news stories about teachers. There's a lot out there, but that's just kind of how all news is. They always pick, they cherry pick the stuff that if it bleeds, it leads, right? Isn't that what we said in the beginning? But I do find it interesting, and I do that. I Google like teacher news just because I'd like to get some inspiration and some good ideas. Maybe that's not the right place to do it, but occasionally you do find great stories about things that teachers are doing, and it makes you feel good. Like, especially as a teacher, like, it makes me feel great, gives me some ideas, and I like seeing that. But I know going into it, I'm not gonna find it. Every once in a while, there's like a gem, and you're like, that's so nice. Most of the time, it's all bad stuff, but it's kind of how it is. Anyways, this was kind of a fun episode. I like doing this, doing the Facebook Live thing, checking it out. See a bunch of people joined in and checked it out. And so I appreciate that. Appreciate all your support. We're going to cut it off for now. I think it's been quite long enough of you guys listening to me talk about the news. But as usual, I always appreciate your guys' support, and keep those comments coming. It's nice to read all the emails that I get. My email is Brian, BRIAN, at TheLazyTeacherPodcast.com. Drop any comments into that. Feel free to slip into the Facebook page for the podcast, and you can leave comments there. And I just love it. This is so much fun. I'm sure you figured out that I'm starting to release the episodes on Friday, not Thursday. It makes more sense to me. Personally, as a podcast consumer, I like when episodes are released on Friday because it gives me something to look forward to. And I like that a lot. And it just works all around. So Fridays are kind of when they're coming out. So appreciate it, guys. We'll see you next time. See ya. Thanks for listening to the Lazy Teacher Podcast. If you want to help support the show, you can leave us a review on iTunes or Stitcher, like us or subscribe on YouTube, or shoot us an email and comment at Brian, BRIAN, at TheLazyTeacherPodcast.com.